So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show with live people, recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm working in my Imagimorphia because there's quite a few pages that I'd forgotten about. I'm also using my Cotman 24 set, 24 set, and this is a really nice set. I bought it by accident, or it was sent by accident. I wanted the half pans, but I decided to keep it because it's got some cold yellows, some warm yellows, orange, cold reds, pinky reds, purples, blues, a couple of greens, some raw sienna, burnt sienna, a couple of reds, and black and white, and I quite liked it. It's probably got every colour. The only one I would like is gamboge, but yeah, I have to make my own. So I really like that, and it's got a really nice big mixing palette each side. Now this side is actually gouache, I think. Oh no, it isn't. This is not. This is my set. So this is the set that I decided to keep and asked my family to pay for because I'd spent too much on other things. So they said they'd buy it for my birthday. But I don't really want to use that side because that's that particular side. I've got all my colours out for a different page, and so I think that's going to try and make myself finish a page first. So I've got a water pot. I'm going to spray these colours because I want to keep them as nice as possible. They're only Cotman, which is student grade or studio grade, but actually the watercolour pigment in them is fantastic, and they are perfectly adequate for colour books, which is why I decided to keep them. So I'm working with my Art Master Pearl Series 11. I've got a number 6 and a 10-0 liner, a number 4 and a number 2 series 11, and they seem to be quite nice because I'm not doing a watercolour effect like I normally do with the riggers. This is just ordinary, just soft watercolours. So I'm going to pick on the dragon. So we'll have the dragon out. I think he can be so I'm going to actually be working in the lid, and I've got a bit of paper here so that I can keep having a touch, and I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. Maybe doing that colour actually. Oh no, that's the wrong colour. I've got my colours upside down. I've got my colours upside down, but never mind. This was the one I was going to do, the fox brown colour. I thought that would look quite nice, so that would maybe look okay for the back. He seems to have flames as well, and then there seems to be flames coming out of the castle. So that's what I thought. Yes, Kenny says it's a nice palette. Yeah, it's almost what I would call perfect. Yep. Definitely. So we're going to have red and yellow flames, and it's going to have a green body. It's going to have a green body now. So actually, I think I'm going to do the castle. I think I'm going to do a red brick castle with grey slate roofs, I think. So this is always nice to just steady. And I'm using flat colour. I'm not kind of doing watercolour effects. I just want to do a really nice there will be variation when I add different waters to it, so you can get a variation of colour. Let's see, so it's going to be redder down the outside. So you can play about a little bit so we can get a little bit of a highlight going. I don't want it too wet though, that's the only thing. and we can just keep pressing that into there. So although this is watercolour, it's not like the riggers that I usually do when it's going to be pale. This is just a really nice way to colour. And it's a different way. I'm not mixing my own colours, a lot of them. There's going to be a lot of nice colours in there. And if we just have a touch, just bear with me 2 seconds. Nigel? Nigel? Oh, sorry about that. Now this is, I think it's called dark red, and it's the one I'm using for the fox, because I think it's a fox colour, but it's also like a brick red colour. So again, just not even mixing my own colours, and sometimes that's so nice to just kind of get on and do some colouring. And again, really nice watercolours, so you've got lots of variation, and it will do everything a watercolour will do. They are very, very well pigmented, really nice. And you can go back in and put some more dark shadow if you want. You can be as artistic or as you can even put the shadow if you want. Oh, Miss Q says Kirby did a live stream of him drawing on Instagram last night. He was drawing a castle. Oh wow, I missed that. Oh dear. Yes, Miss Q, I think these belong to my daughter as well, but it's a cheapy set. But they're quite nice, and I use them with gouache as well. They're quite a nice set. You can't get the effect for the riggers, you can, but that's fine. Yes, I meant to have a look. I was struggling with that book for quite a long time, I have to say, but there's something quite nice about watercolours. And as I say, you can still get some really nice watercolour effects. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Nigel, darling, would you do me a favour? My water brush is in my water pot. Will you fill it so I've got 2 halves? Thank you, darling. No brushes in, just the water pot. Thank you, darling. So I missed that. I miss all sorts of things, I have to say. Once I turn this off, because I was trying to watch Ustream the other day, but because I ignore people most of the day, they kind of want me to be with them later on. So this is fairly quick. This you don't want your brush too wet. It's a fine line, because no paper wants to be wet for too long. Thank you, darling. Thank you, darling. Oh, careful. She just brought me these. What am I going to do with those now? Teenagers. So you can either have a highlighted effect or not. Now it's not like gouache where you can play about with it, but if you do want any highlights, the best thing to do is go lighter, because you can't take it out. Well, you can do, but it's a pest. It's better to do light to dark than the other way around. And it's quicker as well. So, but there's a little bit of variation on there. The palette is actually from Winsor & Newton. The palette that I'm using is the Winsor & Newton, and it's called the 24 full pan set. Because I like this one. I bought this set, which again would be fantastic for colouring books, because you don't have any mixing to do, and that's got 45 colours, and they are the same price. And that's got their half pans, but it's exactly the same size palette, and they're $29.99, or they were at the range. And when I tried to buy one online, they sent me the full pan, this set, and I wasn't going to keep it, but then I thought, oh well, it might be nice to do some watercolouring with these and not actually mix like I normally do. So I decided that because I'd bought the others, one of them had to be a birthday present, so it was an early present. But it's a really nice, and I thought for the money, normally you have to pay a fortune for, and these little pan sets with half a dozen just because they've got somebody's name on, I think it's really bad. I think they, this set, you can just work straight out of the pans, no problem. You always find good quality you can always tell good quality products by the colours that they put in sets, and this one is a really nice set. You need 2 yellows and 2 darks. You need 2 reds, 2 blues. There's a couple of ochre colours here, like a couple of dark browns, and a black and a white. But it's what I would class as a classical colour. And it's so easy to make teals and colours, you just mix them together. It's so easy to mix your own colours. So I just put, and it's fairly quick as well. I think I'm going to go for a grey. Yes, I am about 3 birthdays ahead, and about 4 Christmases as well. Yeah. But I have just bought quite a lot of things, so I've got to be a little bit careful. Being a tight Yorkshire lass, married to a tight Yorkshireman with tight girls. Now my eldest is the opposite. My eldest is nothing but the best. I mean, my other girls like nice things, but they want kind of 1 or 2 things. But I'm a bit spoilt, I have to say. I'm spoilt. Just going to put, and again, they've been very good. They've put these cross hatchings and hatchings so we know where all our shadows need to be. So these pans will last a long time if you're using them in a colour book. And I'm only using the same palette. I'm not actually mixing a dark shadow, I'm just going over the same space with the same paint. And it's giving me some darks and lights. Oops, I just put my foot on a furry thing. It's an Alfie, because my daughter's gone upstairs now. I'm now the best thing, so he's come to sit with me. So again, I use strange things happen when you're using colours and you're colouring in books. Because this one, I wonder if my lights, okay, just bear with me a second. If that's better. This one has come out of this one, and this is what happens with them. So I've got this colour for the castle and the flames because of the fox and the flames, but the fox and the flames came from the dragon, and so it's really strange how you get certain ideas for certain things and yet you use them for something else. So it's quite nice sometimes to keep looking at your old colours and your old colour books, and that's why I want to make this colour book that's got the colour schemes in them, so I know that it was watercolour, and making notes about how I made things, because I forget things. And so I think it's quite nice to do that. Oopsie. So I think we've nearly done the castle. Oh, we've got a little bit more castle to do. Thank you. And I'm sorry for crossing, but it makes it a little bit easier for me. Excuse me, could you shut the door, please? Thank you. Right, so we've got that one, and we have that one. We've got that one. Oops, I left that one, but that's going to be pale now, so actually that works quite well. And then, so sometimes you can pick a paintbrush and it does all of everything, and because I'm not really bothered about now I can go back in there in a bit if I want to. I thought that'd look quite nice. So I might try and do some bolder colours actually, because I'm normally quite an insipid girl if I don't have the hydrous with me. Quite like that castle. Have we forgotten any? Probably forgotten some bits and pieces. It's quite a nice colour. Lots of paper. So very carefully smooch across there. Oopsie. Oh, I don't need that one, do I yet? So thanks for stopping by, everybody. I hope everybody's well. This is a live stream from ustream.tv, and also for YouTube for people to watch at the leisure. So thank you. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, and any suggestions of pages you've seen. It's always good to have feedback of what you're doing, so you know that you're doing the right thing. And I do appreciate all my my watchers and people that follow me, thank you very much. It means a lot. It means you feel a bit more comfortable carrying on. And there's an old saying, it's always nice to be liked. So thank you. And this is an older book, this one. It's been out for a while. And I'd completely forgotten about it, because we get new colour books and we get excited about new colour books and then we forget to go back. So I need to do that a bit more, go through my books. So in my new series of sorting out my studio, I will be creating two books. In my bullet journal at the moment, I have a list of books and pages that I'm doing, so that I can tick them off. And also, when I sort the studio sketchbooks out, I'm going to do this colour book that has a bit of a reference of what colours I use and what paints I use in what book. And so if I do like something in a book and can't remember, I can have a reference to it, and that will be bullet journaling. So that's another thing that I need to start doing, because I'll forget that this is the red from this particular pan set. And they are actually named, I can't actually get to it at the moment because I've just stuck it down. But you can lift these pans out as well, so that's quite good. They just slot out. Again, you've got to try not to be too wet, although the Kirby books are really well behaved when it comes to a damp brush. So we'll get the bridge in. And the other thing about this is it's really quick. So sometimes it's quite nice, because some of my pages take a while, but I like the idea that some of the other pages don't take as long. And you can go over the whole lot and then put things back in, but this is very good for brush control and to teach you when to go left and right and up and down. So it's always good to kind of go around everything, because there is that element of brush control. And because this is such a beautiful, well pigmented paint, you can maneuver it around, because it is a watercolour. It's a very, very good, decent watercolour. I have the Winsor & Newton pans and tubes of cotman. This is what it is, a cotman set of watercolour pans. I have a cotman set of tubes, and I used it when I did the horse, one of the first pictures I did with all the flowers, and I loved it. And so I went and bought 6 professional colours, my 6 colours in professional watercolours. And I tried to put them in my little book of colours, and because they are professional colours, they're sticky because they're a slightly different consistency. There's more pigment, and some pigments are stickier than others. So in some ways, these are perfect for colour books. But really, really nice, well pigmented. And I would just buy this one set. The 45 set would be perfect for watercolouring, colouring books. Or if you wanted more of one colour, the 24 set. The 24 set's perfect if you want to start doing a little bit of watercolouring. The 45 gives you some purples and pinks, so you don't have to mix any colours. And again, that's really perfect. I'm just going to go over these for absolutely perfect. For colour books. And you can work fairly dry, so you don't get any problems with the pages buckling or being a bit... Sorry, I was just playing about on the other side. All the little turrets. Has it come over orange, Kingo? Hi Kingo, welcome to Bunny's Designs. It's not orange, it's like a brick red. If I take my bit of cardboard out, I can tell you what it's called. You can take them out. It's called light red, and that's the colour I was doing the fox. So it shouldn't. It might look a bit orangey. It's probably like a burnt orange. Maybe that's probably a better colour to say. It's almost a burnt orange, and a burnt orange is a dark brick red. So it's if I show you the pan, that's the nearest thing to orange. So it's like a dark. It is a dark, like a burnt orange. Probably that's a better idea. But they've called it red, but I thought that would be perfect for the fox. It's a strange thing that happens to colour when you're streaming. It's very quick, isn't it? Yes, very quick. I mean, you can go back in there, and again, it's all dried. I love how quick it is. But when you get to the smaller detailed things, you can go back in and you can put a bit of shadow under everyone. Very quick, and again, I like that. I do lots of things that are not, and I can be, when I do the watercolor effect, that everyone's got to be dried, everything's got to be exact. And the other blending one, when I did the toadstools, you have to wash your brush out every single time so you don't contaminate, and that's time consuming. But this is just doing this, and you can still go in there with very fine detail with a finer brush. It's just initially getting a nice colour down, and you're not ruining your pages. It's not wishy-washy. It's definitely not wishy-washy. But this watercolour is beautiful. Again, it's like having a perpetual marker. It's not with the rigger. This is just an ordinary. It's not a very fat watercolour brush. It's a series 11. So it's not a watercolour brush, which is a big fat thing. It's kind of medium sized that tapers to a point. And that means when you touch it, you don't get that whoosh of colour and water, which you would with a watercolour. A watercolour brush is designed that when you go like that, everything floods out of the brush all at once, because it's supposed to flood the colour, and you work wet over wet or wet over dry or whatever you want to do. But the idea is you get all that rush of colour, and I don't want that on a brush on a colour page, because one is it's paper and it will not have that, and the other one is I want to be in more control of it, and yet it's still quite fast. And Again, I did go back under there, so if you go back under now with that brush, it's quite pale, so you're going to get all your highlights. And all you've done is weighted till there's hardly anything on the brush. You've not mixed a different colour, you've just weighted. Sorry, there could be a bark alert in a minute. So yeah, that didn't take long at all, did it? 30 minutes. Now that's the difference between just going back over it again and not. So if I go back into here, you can just touch very carefully. You really do not want a lot of water because it's still quite damp, but you can just go back. I do not know what that little boy is. Alf is waving at the glass, shall we say. He's waving at the glass. Bear with me 2 seconds. Alfie. Didn't do any good, bless him. So it doesn't take long to just put that little bit of, and it's no stronger, it's just another coating. We've just got to make sure it's not too damp, because obviously it's not going to like it if it's too damp. Darken just a few bits. I think that might be a bit darker. Be a bit dark down under there. Oops. And there's always one bit that you miss. So I haven't got a slate grey, but I think I want to make a slate grey for the roofs. I think there could be cold grey roofs, I think. Maybe not. So that looks like a flame, but that looks like, doesn't look like a flame. There's a little black bat there, and there is actually Payne's grey in here. I'll go through the colours. I've forgotten my little, if I can remember them. There is a Payne's grey. So there is a Payne's grey if you wanted to use it, and it is there, so you know I could use it. I'm just thinking about warming it up. And I've missed the bottom of the castle, look there. So I'll get rid of that Payne's grey and I'll just go back in here. And you can always go back in a bit later, but it's good brush skills to go around everything rather than over the top. I could have changed to a bit bigger brush, but It's just your water content you've got to be careful with. But it's just like having a perpetual marker, and that's what I loved about. But I did want a watercolour effect. So gouache does the same. It's this dampish brush with colour on it, and that is so nice and so quick and easy. You don't buckle any pages because you've just got just the right amount of water. And if you're not sure what's going to come out, always do it at the bottom because that's darker anyway. And by the time you get up here, you're going to be about the same colour. But this is watercolour, so remember, it just disappears because it's watercolour. How do I warm a grey up? Well, I wouldn't really use that one to start with because I don't like Payne's Grey, but it's in there. I'd put a touch of red to it, but definitely not too much. So let's have a look. So I'll start with Payne's Grey. So this is Payne's Grey. And it's actually not too bad, it's not that cold. Because it's made with French ultramarine and that's got pink in it. But if you put a touch of red in it, which was here, it's gone to brown. But if you take that back, just the tiniest amount, it's just a bit warmer. If you can see, that's just a bit warmer. You don't need much, more than a touch, and you'll end up with a brown. Or Payne's Grey, and a touch of is that? Oh no, that's not any blue, but we'll do that one, which I think is my fave. Oof, no, that's not it. Bear with me a second. Oh, sorry, that's French ultramarine. It is there. That's my French ultramarine. I thought it was. I forgot my palettes backwards. So what we've got here is off the top of my head, lemon yellow, oopsie, cadmium yellow hue, and then this one is almost that's cadmium yellow, but it's dark. It's a little bit darker. That's what was in between. So if you went to I'd have that one there, then I'd have a gamboge, but we haven't got a gamboge. This one is cadmium orange, and this is what I said about being the perfect set. And then we've got, oops, it's backwards, is that one? Put it in the other way. It should be a cadmium red deep, I think. No, that's cadmium orange, cadmium red. This is cadmium red hue. And that one is cad red deep. This is Elysian crimson. And this one is purple lake, French ultramarine, cobalt blue. Oh, that should be my cerulean blue. Yep, cerulean blue rather. I always say cerulean, it's cerulean. And the last one should be, oops, wrong way round. That one is intense blue, which I would put Prussian blue there. I've got Viridian green, and then we've got sap green, and that's raw sienna. That one's yellow ochre. That one's raw umber, and that one is, don't know what that one is, burnt sienna, and then that's the deep red, light red, sorry, but it's almost like a burnt orange, and that one is burnt umber, Payne's grey, black and white. Oh, thank you. Oh, they really, I didn't think so. My nails are, look at the state of my nails with the doing the things, but thank you anyway. What was I doing that? Putting that in there, just wiping that colour off. So that's what we've got in there. So that, now I would have, I would say that's almost perfect. I would have actually swapped that red, and actually I've used it the most in the last 2 days. But the other one that I do love too, Prussian blue. It's a very deep, dark blue, but you can make that. And I would also have a gamboge. But apart from that, that's perfect. But if we look at this 45 pan set, if you're using it for colour, and if you just, I mean, there's still a lot of colour in a half pan. This has got to be the perfect set. And I wish I could have one of these, but I just can't have one of these, so never mind. We've got lemon yellow, cadmium yellow pale, cadmium yellow, gamboge, cadmium orange hue, cadmium red deep. I don't know what that one is. What's this one? Oh, that's cadmium red deep. That's cadmium red hue. Oh, there's two the same because there's a couple of duplicated in this set. Elysian crimson, permanent rose, rose madder hue, a purple, and then there's mauve, and there's purple, oxidine purple. So you've got 3 purples there and 2 pinks. Then we've got ultramarine, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, turquoise, intense blue, which they've put phthalo blue, Prussian blue. I would put that there, and then they've got intense green, phthalo green. So again, remember the hydrous with the phthalo green and the phthalo blue. You can make phthalo turquoise, gorgeous colour. And we've got viridian, and then we've got emerald, and then we've got hooker's green light, sap green. So again, you've got some really nice greens there. And then we've got raw sienna, yellow ochre. We've got 2 yellow ochres, raw umber, burnt sienna, light red, which is the red that I've been using for the fox and for this. Indian red is another good one. That's another one for brick red. That's a gorgeous, very famous Indian red. Burnt umber, Van Dyke brown, sepia, indigo, Payne's grey, ivory black, lamp black. Lamp black is darker than ivory black. Then we've got white. That would be the perfect set. Yes, Kenny, you sent me down a rabbit hole. Oops, we're on a rabbit trail. That would be really, really good. It's the same price as the full pans. That was $29.99. This is $29.99. There's a couple of extra ones. There's not exactly 45 colours because there's a couple of duplicate ones. But the names I've just called out are the perfect set, without mixing any. They're the classic traditional colours and they will serve you for anything. And for a colour book, to have all those colours without mixing at all is perfect. If you wanted more colour, this is the very good, again, traditional set. When I was colouring this Victorian, or even before it, Victoria, the butterfly one. Is it the butterfly one? When I was looking to this first page here, which is Marian's Butterfly Colour Book, and I was matching these colours. It's not finished, this. These colours were near there. That was out of this set. This is a typical, what Victorians had, a traditional set of colours. So there's no turquoise, there's no silly greens, there's just the basic colours. And that's what all these lovely traditional vintagey style colours came from. And even the red was straight out of the pan, because that's how they used them. So all these colours are in here, because this is an old photograph. It's photographs of old watercolours, and this is a traditional old watercolour set. So I now know that that's why I kept it. I love the fact that these colours are in here, because that's what they would have had. They wouldn't have had the purples, they wouldn't have had the turquoises, because the other one about the oxidine purple is it was extremely dangerous. I think there's a but for nowadays, for colouring in any colour book, whether it be traditional flowers or make-believe or pretend or Disney, this has got a really beautiful, fantastic range. It's got so many yellows, oranges, reds, purples, pinks, blues, gold blues, greens, light browns, dark browns, greys, blacks and whites. That's the perfect combination. And you really wouldn't want to mix any other colours. You've got them all there. There's an odd one you haven't, but apart from that, I can't think of it. That would be a really nice set for anything you wanted to do. And the quality of the pigment is extremely good as well. But as I say, they sent me this by mistake. But by just mixing a few together, you can double up and you've got your 45. You don't have to go mad. But if you wanted a traditional watercolour set, this is it. As apart from the gamboge, I'd take out the Payne's grey and put in gamboge, because if you mix French ultramarine with a dark brown, this isn't Van Dyke brown, so burnt umber and, well, I can do that because I love mixing my own colours. Burnt umber and French ultramarine, you get Van Dyke brown. And if you carry it on a bit further with a bit more blue, you get Payne's grey, which is why Payne's grey isn't cold and it isn't warm. It's right in between. Oh, hi Carol, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Yeah, again, I like that they've been making watercolours for yonks, hundreds of years, and that's a traditional set. So I don't have any gold, and I don't know what pigments they're like, but these are almost professional. These are really, really good pigments. I mean, you've seen just the tiniest touch of colour, and I've done all this. I wouldn't buy anybody else's names because of how they colour. It's ridiculous. Sorry. You just want a good make, somebody that's been making paints for a long time, and you want a traditional set. because you can make all the others up. You can make all the pinks, you can make all the turquoises, but you can't mix some of these. They're just easier that way. But I think I just like them. I've always used them, and it's a name that I trust. So I just kind of buy them. Hi Carol, by the way. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. I think when you get older, you get stuck in your ways. I mean, I've been using Winsor & Newton. They were the only thing we had. They will have changed like Derwent pencils. You know, they've changed the way they make them. They've changed manufacturing over the last 200 odd years. 100 odd years. They've changed the way. 17 something, I think it was. So they've had to change because the pigments have changed. People's colours have changed, and so they've evolved into some of the best companies in the world for colour. So Winsor & Newton are the same. You know, they've been doing it a long time. These are cotman. These are the cotman watercolours, but as I say, they are extremely good. And I have 6 professional watercolours, and I wouldn't buy any others. I'd just buy 6. Because I mix my own. If they're professional, I mix my own. I've got 6 colours, and that's it. That's okay for me. I don't want a black, and I don't want a white. If it's watercolour, do not want a white. So these are the cotman set. I think they do them in a non. I found one actually, but I've actually got quite a few little pans. I've actually got some professional, and they came in that box. So I have both that, and I have the tubes. So that's what I'm going to put into this when it's finished. I'll put my professional ones in here, into pans, because I've got them in my little book of colours, which I should be able to put my hand on. Whoopsie. So these are all the colours I have, in the professional set. Oh, they're still sticky. They're still sticky because they're professional, you see. So these are all the colours I have in my professionals. So I've got a lemon yellow, a cadmium yellow, there's a gamboge in there. Can't think what else I've got. Very similar actually to this set. I haven't got a Payne's grey. These are my professionals, so again I don't need much of those, but it's just because I wanted to put them in here, that's all, with everything else. But it's quite handy in that little set. The same with the hydras, they're really handy, even though they look messy, you know, that's pure colour. I've never heard of Daniel Smith. I've never heard of Daniel Smith. I've never heard of Daniel Smith. Is it? It's just a set of colours. So I don't know. I can't say what they're like, and I really, at my age, don't really think I should be buying any more. But I just wanted this. As I say, they sent me this by mistake. These aren't for me, but these are gorgeous. But these are going in the little book, Carol. These are going in the little book. I've cut some. I can't cut all of them because they don't cut well. Some of them. The gamboge is like a brick. I nearly cut my hand off, so I cannot send that. But all the others are to go in the little book of colours. So the professional are the Daniel Smith ones. Oh, they're all stuck together now. That's going to be a shame. So they're all stuck together now. It took me ages to cut them apart, and they've all stuck together now. Oh, Can't believe that. So this is for the giveaway from the beginning of the year. That's how upset I was at not being able to get anything to fit in that little book. So I've found a way of putting colour in. But these are fantastic paints. You know, you don't have to think they're not professional. They are wonderful colours. Did I put any in yours, Carol? I can't remember. Did I put any of your little things in? Because Carol won one of the giveaways, didn't you? Last year. So I think did I put some of these little colours in yours? I do know the professional ones are really sticky, whereas you can cut some of these up. Didn't you have a little page? I didn't know if I'd done you a little page of these with about 6 colours, but it's all pure colour. I just wondered how you got on with it in your book, because I loved mine in the front. Mine are at the front. And there's little holes in mine. You see the little holes? And that's where I put my little brush. You know, it starts off like that. So you can tell the ones I've used the most. I've used 6. And you end up with a little hole. And there's about 2 millimeters. Yes, I'm the same, Kenny. I don't. And again, I don't need to do a different one because I've got this one, if that makes any sense. And I really couldn't think that £30 for all this colour. I'll do a comparison actually, because now I've got these. I'll do a comparison. It'll all be Winsor & Newton, but it'll be the Cotman and it'll be the other. But I can't tell too much of a difference. The bunny rabbits were. Now I haven't done anything like with this, like a full set of pans, but what I did do, did you try them, Carol? Those little sticks of colour, did they stay in your book, in your little watercolour book? I don't want to put that away now because I don't want them to stick together. But that's pure colour, is that? So a little blob of glue and that will be perfectly okay. I don't have to be too precious with them because they've got the colour on them anyway, so I know what they are. But as I think that for the amount of colours it is really good. But I'll do a comparison. Although these are pans, they were Cotman. This is the first one I ever did, and I did it with 3 tubes of Cotman. And I'll pan out so we can see. Just move my blade out of the way because it's a bit dangerous. Oh, did I put pencils in yours? Oh dear, I can't remember. I just wondered how you got on with it, that's all. So this is all 3 tubes of Cotman, and really, really pretty colours. I had lemon yellow, cerulean blue, and alizarin crimson, and I managed to make a nice cad red. It's not traditional cad red because that comes from a pigment, but it's my interpretation of it. You know, it's a cool red. And then I loved it so much I bought 6 professional watercolours and coloured the bunnies in. So I wouldn't have thought. Is it still okay? Is it still alright? So again, different colours, but these are professionals, and I had 6. And I made my mushroom colour from exact half and half alizarin crimson and cadmium red, and that gave me, because the cad red is too cold and the alizarin crimson is too pink, so if you go 50-50 you get a gorgeous red death cap mushroom colour. So I managed to get a fairly decent, that's the pinky red, and then I got a reddy red. So I made my cadmium red, and that's what got me onto watercolours in books. I love it. I love it. That's I'm using them quite watery there, but I still like them. But they're very easy to use. Whoopsie. But it's the colours that you want. But there's no reason to buy professional watercolours. I only bought them because I'm supposed to be a professional artist, and I keep saying I am, but I am not an artist. I am not a professional artist. I trained to be one, but I am not a professional artist because I don't sell any work. I'm not a professional artist. So so don't take any notice of an old woman. I just play about. So I'm going to have a play, but if you want, just for people who, if you've got a bit of arthritis, or if you're not very confident with anything, or you don't really want too much mess, this is perfect size. I didn't have a carmine, so I made a carmine with alizarin crimson and the purple, and then I put a little touch of blue in it. So I made a dark carmine because I wanted on the toadstools to have a little bit of burnt carmine. So it's quite interesting, and it's quite a nice colour set. But I, as I say, for colour books, this is for colour books. This isn't for professional painting that you want to go out and sell your paintings. This is just purely for colour books, for a simple, easy way. You want a paintbrush and a little pot of water, and you're away. And you can do a bit of mixing if you want, or you can just work straight from the colours, like there. If I had all these, I'd just work from the colours. It's just occasionally I want to mix a few extra, but this is a really lovely set. It's a traditional old set of colours. So that, thanks for stopping by, and I'll finish that that waffle of the beginning of watercolouring in Imagimorphia. Thanks for watching.